Right, we have our first guest on the call. Thank you for joining us. It's Mr. Mark Dynamite Heffron. How are you, Mark?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm keeping well. Thanks for joining us. For those who don't know, Mark is a current pro, 18-0 with 14 knockouts. We're talking about all the stuff from over the weekend, Wilder, Ortiz, Kovalev, all those type of things. Mark, did you manage to see anything that stuck out over the weekend?
Well, I watched Kell Brook, and I've seen the Deontay Wilder. I've seen bits of that. Yeah.
What did you think of Kell Brook? Impressive finish?
Yeah, it was impressive. Yeah, it was a good finish. Yeah.
What about just sticking on Kell? Do you think he'll fight Amir Khan? And if he did, who do you think would win?
Well, I hope the fight happens. Yeah, and I think Kell Brook will knock him out.
Kell Brook will knock him out. You heard it there from Mark, everybody. Just looking at your own career, Mark, you're obviously up at super middleweight now. How are things going for you, training-wise? And are you in a good space at the moment?
Yeah, everything's going good for me. Yeah, I'm down high now, training with Ricky Hatton. I'm enjoying it. Yeah.
What's it like to train under Ricky? Obviously, with his name and his reputation, is that a factor, or is it just business for you?
Yeah, I enjoy it. I love it. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, because he's learning everything that he used to do and stuff. So yeah, I'm learning new things every day.
Is he getting you to swivel off to the side, maybe plant a little left hook to the body, as was his trademark in his prime?
Yeah, we do a lot of that. Yeah, we do a lot on the body bag and stuff. Yeah, it's good. Enjoy it.
And who does he have you sparring with, or who are some of the better names you've sparred with over the years?
I sparred loads of people. Like for my last fight, I was sparring Lyndon Harpers, I was sparring Jose Burton, I was sparring Callum Johnson, Darryl Williams, Chris Blaney, Jake Haig. Like we sparred loads, but I sparred Amir Khan and stuff. Sparred with Hassan N'Dam. I sparred with loads of good names.
And you mentioned Chris Blaney there. He obviously took part in the last man standing tournament last night. Did you manage to see any of that, or have you spoken to Chris?
No, I was at a show in Oldham at Oldham Sports Centre, so I didn't get to see it. No, I missed the fights.
Yeah, it was entertaining. Obviously, it was down at middleweight. But I mean, if someone presented something like that to you, would you be interested in that format?
Yeah, well, I've just moved down to middleweight myself, haven't I?
Oh, so you're actually back down at middleweight now, then?
Yeah, I'm back down at middleweight. I'm fighting on the 19th of May. Probably about 11-8, 11-9, and then I'm next in line for the British title, so I'll be fighting Tommy Langford for the British at middleweight.
And Tommy obviously had a good win over Jack Armfield recently. Did you see it? What did you make of it?
I've only watched little bits of it. Yeah, he did a good performance. Yeah, he pulled away from Jack Armfield in the later rounds. Like in the early rounds, it was a good competitive fight, and it was good. Yeah.
Mark's moved back down to middleweight. I'm sure everybody probably knew that. I actually didn't realise that myself. You knocked out Lewis Taylor in your last fight. Taylor's a decent operator. Would that be the biggest name on your record, would you say, so far?
Yeah. Well, I boxed that Matteo Damian Bron in my 9th fight, and he was like he was in the top 30 in the world when I beat him. And yeah, I got a good ranking off that. But then I injured my hand, and I was out of the gym for about 12 months, and then I come back with 30, and then that's where I am now from there.
I remember in 2011 seeing you box in the City West Hotel on the Casey Rigondo undercard. What was it like to be involved in a fight of that magnitude? What do you remember from the night?
Yeah, it was mint. Yeah, I enjoyed it, and I was in the same hotel as Rigondo. Yeah, it was a good experience. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
We saw George Groves obviously beating Chris Eubank. Who did you pick to win that fight beforehand? Did it go the way you expected, Mark?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I said that Groves would be too big for him, and his boxing skills as well, because Chris Eubank he likes to plant his feet and punch, and Groves is a good move, and like he didn't let Eubank standing for the punches, like he was moving a lot, wasn't he?
If Eubank were to move back down to middleweight, as we expect him to, I mean, he probably should. Would you fancy a crack at him yourself?
100%. If the money's right, I'll fight anybody.
Fair enough. How would you fight someone like Eubank, someone who hasn't got the fundamentals of yourself, and maybe a little bit unorthodox, gets by on athleticism?
I just use my boxing skills, like what he's not got. He's got one thing, and that's just come forward now and have a fight. I can do it. I can do everything myself. So I mean, I can stand and have a fight, and I can box well as a good amateur. Do you know what I mean? won a lot of things in the amateurs, so I've got the boxing abilities to beat him.
Am I right in saying your brother Ronnie used to box as well?
Yeah, Ronnie. I don't think there was a single tournament that Ronnie didn't win as an amateur. He won all the ABAs as a schoolboy, won everything as a schoolboy, won everything as a senior in the seniors. And then, he turned professional. He had 17 fights. He boxed Denton Marcel on his 9th professional fight. He took that on 2 weeks' notice. Stupid, really, but I think the money was good. That's why he took it. And he got beat out Denton Marcel, and he boxed Liam Williams in his last fight. He got a big cut right through his forehead into his eye, and he got stopped because I think he was a round behind. Yeah,
I think I remember Ronnie maybe boxing Peter McDonough. Was that on the Chisora undercard? Yeah,
he boxed him twice. Yeah, Ronnie.
Good stuff. Just to remind our listeners, we've got middleweight Mark Heffron from Oldham on the call. It's good to have Mark with us. You want social media or anything that you want to plug, Mark?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Mark Heffron 91, and I'm on Instagram as well, Mark Heffron. Yeah.
We were speaking to Shane Singleton last week, and he was telling us some of the problems with the game. You know, he hasn't got paid by a certain promoter, and some of the things behind the scenes that we don't see. What are some of the more frustrating things as a professional boxer that have happened to you? You know, things that maybe the fans don't always know about.
Well, people think I've messed around in my career, but at the start of my career, I signed with Gary Hyde. Yeah. I just got messed about, and I wanted to build a career here in Britain, and get all my fan base behind me. And he wanted me for my first 10 fights. I boxed all over the country, in Poland, Netherlands, Germany, Ireland. I boxed everywhere. And I wasn't building no fan base. I wanted all my people to watch me. And I tried to speak to him, but and then he ended up just leaving me sat out, and then stuff like that. Yeah, so I got messed around early in my career, and that's why. I've been sat back there. I've not really done anything yet, but this last year, I've got a lot of fights in, and I'm doing good now.
That's good to hear. I'm going to open it up to our panel just before we let you go. Mark, you mentioned Gary Hyde there. Obviously, he's a promoter from Cork. We've had him on the show in the past if people don't know who Gary is. Did you ever get to spar Hassan N'Dam at that time? Because he was with Gary, wasn't he?
I sparred Hassan N'Dam fucking tons of times. I did 3 camps of Hassan. I stayed in Ireland for 9 weeks when I boxed in Ireland. I stayed in the room with him and stuff, and I sparred him for the full camp, and I sparred him for 3 different camps. Yeah, Hassan.
Fit guy, obviously. From what I've seen of him, he had an excellent jab. What did he do well, Hassan?
He's a really good boxer. And when he used to spar him, actually, he used to deaden your arms. You know, so you took your arms, and obviously then he tried it. But yeah, he'd pretend he's going to punch you in the head or to the body, and then he'd hit you on the outside of your arms. Yeah, he's give you dead arms and stuff. He's a clever fighter.
Little pro tricks, experience and that.
Yeah, that's it. I learned a lot of Hassan from sparring him.
Yeah, very good fighter, N'Dam. Any of the lads on the panel got any questions for Mark before we move on?
Hi, Mark. I just want to ask you one question, mate. I know you trained with Pat Barrett for a number of years. Obviously, I dare see he'd come across his son Zelfa, but were you surprised at Zelfa losing that fight against Ronnie Clark a couple of weeks back?
Yeah, I was very surprised because Zelfa's he's like one of my best British fighters. Like today, obviously he's one of my mates and stuff. And I just think it might have took him a bit lightly, and I don't think it trained 100% for it, yeah, but I didn't expect that, no.
Thanks, Andy. Ozzy, do you have any questions for Mark?
Yeah, I have a couple of things, Mark. What was it like when you were out in America? Did you spend, I think you spent quite a bit of time at the Wildcard. Did you do a lot of things with Freddie Roach out there?
Yeah, I've done a lot of pads and stuff with Freddie, and I did a lot of sparring by me account while I was out there. And I had to come back for the senior ABAs. I boxed 11 foot in the semi-finals of the senior ABAs, and Freddie Roach wanted me to stay out there and spar with Amir. But obviously, I wanted to get back for the ABAs because I wanted to win them that year. So I ended up coming back, but I was supposed to go back, but I never ended up going back.
And what did how much did you learn off him, and what comments did he say about yourself? Because obviously you would have been an amateur at the time, but did he rate your power and things like that?
I can't really remember because I was at like 17, 18 at the time, so it was a good few years ago now.
No, fair enough. And sorry, go on.
Go on, you're right there.
No, I was going to say, any of you next out on the Selby Warrington card?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and what sort of opponent are they going to be looking to match you with there? Is it going to be a step up from Lewis Taylor in preparation for a potential fight with Tommy Langford?
Yeah, definitely. It's got to be a step up because I want to get some with the good solid rounds, and I think it's either an 8-rounder or a 10-rounder. I'm like, obviously I need the step up anyway, so I get the good rounds in. Yeah.
And finally, from me, how is that fan base going? I know you mentioned that your time with Gary Hyde, you were all over the world at times and never really boxing, but I've seen that you've had a couple of shows in Oldham and things like that. How is that fan base going, and is it continuously growing now you've got that slot with BT and Frank Warren?
Yeah, definitely. Well, when my last fight, when I boxed in Oldham, I sold nearly 600 tickets. And when I went to Newcastle, I'd done 300 tickets in Newcastle. So that's people travelling all down there. But yeah, the fan base is built up massive now, and I'm buzzing for this next fight. I've ordered a few hundred tickets for this one down Leeds as well. Yeah, so I'm buzzing with the fan base. Yeah.
And just another quick one from me: are there any other names in the middleweight division that you're looking at aside from Tommy Langford? Because I know there's some good names at that, particularly domestically. Is there anyone that you've got your eye on?
No, I've not really got my eye on anyone, no. I've just got my eye on that British title.
Okay, Ozzy? Yep.
Yeah, that's everything from me, yeah.
Brilliant, thanks, Ozzy. And thank you to you, Mark, as well, for joining us. That's at Mark Heffron 91 on Twitter. And is it the same on Instagram, yeah?
Yeah, but on Instagram, it's just Mark Heffron, all in one with 2 ends on the end.
Okay, good stuff. And if anybody wants to sponsor you, anything like that, you're always open to those offers?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, of course, yeah.
Brilliant. Best of luck with the future fights, Mark. Thanks for joining us this evening.